Welcome to Onuya Publications. We are going to have our first lesson on nouns. We will first look at types of nouns, then move on to organization of our lesson for the day. When it comes to the organization of the lesson, we are going to look at common and proper nouns. Then move on to count and non-count nouns, whilst concrete and abstract nouns follow. We will finalize everything on summary. After everything, we will summarize all what we've learned and see what to do next. You are to look at the pictures carefully and identify what is being showed in each picture. So, what do you see in picture A? What do you see in picture B? What do you see in picture C? You are to look around. You see things. One of these things are what is being shown in the picture. Write your answers down in your jotter. Just put the single word there. A, what is in it? B, what is in it? C, what is in it? That is all. You are a brilliant student, so I'm sure your answer will not be different from what I think. I'm sure you said to yourself that A is a 3, B is also a 3, and C is also a 3. Then we can say that the 3 pictures contain the same thing. Well, or what do you have to say to yourself? Meaning, A, B, and C have the same name, right? When we talk about the same name here, what we mean is there is a common name for all of them. A name that we can use to identify picture A. The same name can be used to identify B. The same thing can be used to identify picture C. Right? Then, let's look at this one too. Who is in picture D? Who is in picture E? And who is in picture F? Look at them carefully. Look at activities that they are performing. And tell us who is in E, who is in D, who is in E, and who is in F. You are all brilliant students, so I know that you've already said the answers to yourself, right? Okay. You're an intelligent learner. I'm sure you said teacher for D, teacher for E, and a teacher for F. Here, you realize that the one in picture D is teaching. As a result of that, you said he's a teacher. You realize that the one in picture E is also teaching. Because of that, you said he is also a teacher. Similarly, the one in F is also teaching. And for that reason, she is also a teacher. What we want to arrive here is that people who perform such job or such activity have a common name, a name that applies to all of them. And that is the name teacher. So, teacher is a noun, but it is a common noun. Common because it is a noun that is used to identify people who perform the act of teaching. In the same way, all of you sitting here, participating in this lesson, taking part of this lesson are all learners. You are a learner. The one in front of you is also a learner. The one sitting behind you is also a learner. You are all learners because you are learning. So the word learner is a common name that applies to whoever is studying, whoever is learning. You can look around. People sitting by some items and selling them. When I group all of them and ask you, who is the woman under the tree? Who is the woman doing this and that? You will say that they are sellers. So, when I asked you to call one of the sellers or go and call the seller, which of them are you going to call? You may call any of them because the word seller is a common noun. When I ask you right now to go and call a teacher, which of the teachers are you going to call? Because the word teacher is a common noun. It applies to everyone. A word like driver. You get the taxi rank and I ask you, call the driver. There are so many drivers there. Which of them are you going to call? Because the word driver is a common noun. Common noun because it applies to whoever performs the act of controlling a car. When I say a car, I want to take it in the layman's language. I may say a vehicle because you know the cars are small ones, like the taxis and other small vehicles. In the same way, the word car as we use here is also a collective noun. Brethren, it's also a common noun. Car is also a common noun. A common noun because it applies to some small vehicles that move on the roads. So, I could bring pictures of vehicles around. Then I ask you, what do you see? You say, we see cars. But remember that each of them may have their specific names. We shall come to that. There are so many things that we can talk about when we are talking about common nouns. All right, let's move on and see there. So we said that E, D, and F have the same name, and that name is teacher because they are performing the act of teaching. Now, we are going to distinguish between the common and proper noun. I've started the word doctor with a capital letter. Yeah. In fact, doctor is a common noun. Common because whoever manages our sicknesses, we call the fellow a doctor, right? In the same way, the one who sits behind the steering wheel to control a car on the road is also called a driver. But the moment we know the person's name and mention the specific name of the person managing our sickness, we say Dr. Judas Iscariot. Your school bus is there. So, as I speak, I don't know their names. I will say the school drivers or the school driver. Because a driver is the one who controls the bus. Now, when you mention the name of the driver, that specific name that Mr. Kweku Menu becomes a proper noun. You are the school at MPS here. You have a proprietor, the owner of the school. The word proprietor is a common noun. Common because whoever has established a school is also a proprietor. So when I ask you, go and call a proprietor at Kintampo or at Techimai, whom are you going to call? But the moment I mention Mr. Kwakufa, you know that I've mentioned a specific person's name. That one becomes a proper noun. So here we have doctor. It's a common noun. But Dr. Judas Iscariot is a proper noun. I may mention the name of a priest, the name of an institution. So university, it belongs to what? To school. University is a common noun. It's a school of the highest learning, university. And the moment I mention school, it's also a common noun. Any place that people sit together to study, to acquire knowledge is a school. But in the layman's language, they just consider that people wearing uniform and in a particular place like where you are right now is what is called a school. Well, let's take it like that. So, when we mention the University of Ghana, then that one too becomes a proper noun. That one becomes a proper noun. Country. There are too many countries. The word country is a common noun. But when we mention Nigeria, Togo, and the rest, we mean a specific country. President. So we say Nanado, that is a proper noun. So then, what are common nouns? We are saying that common nouns are general names of objects like tree, stone, chairs, doctor, teacher. We've already explained. Teacher refers to whoever teaches. Places, we have palace. Ahimfi, right? Ahimfi, palace. Town. Kintampo is a town. Techima is a town. Kumasi, Wenchi. If you just mention town. Country, Nigeria, Togo, Burkina Faso. They are all countries. So the word country applies to all of them. That makes it a common noun. So we say common nouns are common to or identify unspecified things. You've not specified it. We can add too many of them. In fact, nouns are too many to be counted. So whatever comes into your mind, any word that you can mention that applies to everything or many of its kinds is a common noun. Then, what are proper nouns too? And we say that they are names of a specific person. Kofi Menu. Your name is also a proper noun. Rita and many more. We then say places. So here we mean specific places. So all towns, the name of towns, villages are all proper nouns. Remember very well that we are studying a foreign language. Whenever we are writing a proper noun, it begins with a capital letter. That is an uppercase. It begins with a capital letter. We have something like rivers, lakes, or I may say water bodies. The names of such a specific water bodies are also proper noun. So I may say Lake Bosomonpin. I may say Kintampo waterfall. The moment I mention waterfall, it applies to all water bodies that appear to be falling the way you see waterfall. But the moment I mention Kintampo waterfall, that makes it a proper noun. Then, commercial products, Casapreco. It is a name of a product, so it is a proper noun. Pepsodent is a proper noun. Just jot it down. Pepsodent. What is the common name for Pepsodent? Put it down. You are a brilliant student. I'm sure you mentioned toothpaste. Because Pepsodent is a toothpaste. Charlie is a toothpaste. Close-up is a toothpaste. Just mention any other toothpaste that you put on your brush to brush your teeth. They are all toothpaste. That is the common name, toothpaste. But here, I've mentioned a specific one. Pepsodent is a toothpaste. What is a proper name for? A common name for Casaprecon. Casaprecon is a type of alcoholic drink, right? Whatever answer you know, write it for yourself, a common name. Because that common name could apply to Casaprecon. It can apply to Alumbo bitters, right? It can apply to appetition. It can apply to schnapp. All these names that I've mentioned, are proper nouns because they refer to specific ones. But to be more critical, for instance, we cannot go far into it. Schnapp is also more or less a general name because they have aromatic schnapp and many more. Let's end it there concerning that one. Then, religious periods like Easter, Christmas, they are all proper nouns. Ramadan, they are all proper nouns. Then names of the months are also proper nouns. So January, February, March, they are all proper nouns. What is their common name? A common name, that is what we call common nouns. So we call them months. Days of the week, or we could simply say days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and the rest. They are all proper nouns. Meaning, whenever we are writing them, we begin with a capital letter, an uppercase letter, right? Okay. Geographical locations, we've already talked about that. Kintampo is a geographical location, though it's a town. But here, I just wanted to represent it by the countries. These are some of them. Political parties, their names are also proper now. Asempa Party, New Patriotic Party, National Democratic Congress, Movement for Change. They are all proper nouns. They are all proper nouns. Okay. Let's see this one too. So, religions and religious concepts, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, they are all proper nouns. I mean such names when you are writing. Then, names that we use as a form of address. The name may be a common noun, but depending on how you use it, it becomes a proper noun. So what we mean is, a word like father, you know that it's a common noun in one aspect, but it's a proper in another aspect. Father is our male parent. But the moment you see the Catholic priest, then you call him father. It's a form of address. As a result of that, it becomes a proper noun. The Roman sister, the moment you say sister, addressing that woman, it now becomes a proper noun because it has been used as a form of address. So when you write the word uncle, uncle is a brother of your mother or your father. Uncle, just like that, is a common noun. But when I say Uncle Kofi, Uncle Mensa, now the word uncle there becomes a proper noun. Or when I simply say uncle, as we normally call it, these days some schools also call their teachers aunt and uncles. At that point, it becomes a proper noun. In the same way, teacher, as we wrote, in our Ghanaian concept, we normally use such words to call to address them as if it's their real name. Under such circumstance, it becomes a proper noun. But we never call a farmer a farmer. So in our Ghanaian society, a farmer will forever remain a common noun. However, suppose a farmer is your nickname. That is how people call you, farmer. Then farmer is a proper noun. Because whenever one gets to the society or the community, the town, and mention farmer, everybody knows that you are the one they are talking about. Farmer has now become your name. So it's a proper noun. Bush. B-U-S-H. Bush. It's a common noun. But there is a U.S. former president who is called Bush. So do you think such a word is a common noun? No, it's a proper noun. It refers to a specific person. It's a proper noun. These are some of the things that we are studying so that in our everyday communication, especially when we are writing, we will use the appropriate writing rules. One may be called a driver. For that reason, because he's being called driver, everybody knows him to be a driver, to be called driver. It's more or less like it's a proper name. Then a driver will be written with a capital letter. When we are referring to him, the word driver will begin with a capital letter, an uppercase letter. Right? Public institutions, we've mentioned all those things. Languages and then adjectives. When we see some of the adjectives like Ghanaian, then Nkrumahite, meaning following Nkrumah's principles and all that. When we are writing them, we use uppercase letters to begin them. We are now moving to this. Our next lesson, we are going to work on common nouns and proper nouns. Thank you.